Hey you guys, John here. So about almost a month ago, I went to see Fantastic Four First Steps, and so I wanted to do kind of a ranking video of all five movies. Yes, I said five because I'm including the Corman movie here. Before I do that, though, I wanted to throw this in. I bought this like several months ago, and I was going to do like a little mini update thing because my friend Joshua Baker was going to send me some movies, but I guess Canada has this new rule about shipping things across the border or whatnot. It's stupid, it's retarded, but sadly because of that, he can't send me the movies unless I guess he's able to afford it or some shit. I don't know the deal on that, so that's why I'm throwing this in. I have the theatrical cut on the Blu-ray, so once I get my movies out of the, so when I get my stuff out of the storage unit, what I'm going to do is take the disc tray that is my movie Jumper, because I don't really need the digital copy disc, put the disc tray in this, and then put my Punisher Blu-ray into this too. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I'll probably keep the Blu-ray case in case you need or some such thing. So yeah, I have this finally. And I've seen it, and it's awesome. But as far as the Fantastic Four ranking, so there's 5 movies if you count the Corman movie. Okay, so let's start with number 5. Number 5, Fan Four Stick. I fucking hate it. Yeah, this movie's production is about as troubled, I think, as Justice League's production was. Because, Josh Trank came in, fresh off Chronicle. He wanted to do something different, and with the Fantastic Four, do more of like a body horror, seeing how these guys actually react to getting their powers. And on paper, kind of sounds interesting. And it's just the end product, not so much. Because apparently there were troubles on set. Like, Trank would, I guess, supposedly come on to set hammered. He would have started fights with the actors and shit, the crew and all that stuff. And all that bunch of bullshit. And Trank was, I guess, I don't want to say fired, but he was more dismissed. They brought in someone else to do the reshoots. And then he was locked out of the editing process. And it was a myriad of trouble production. And what we got was, well, shit. So that is number 5. Number 4, I will say, is the Roger Corman Fantastic Four movie from 1994. This is the unreleased film from 94 where they basically made this movie just for I think it was like $1 million of the budget, and they made it solely to keep the lights on, if you will. And none of the actors knew, like as far as the actors knew, they were making something good. They were making something that was going to be seen, something that was going to mean something. But from what I read, Avi Arad, the guy who seems to know best, bought all the prints and destroyed them. Yet somehow one print made it through to circulation, which is how a lot of people knew about the movie. But yeah, good old Avi Arad, always knowing how to make a Marvel movie. Yeah, this is the same guy who shoved Venom into Spider-Man 3 for God knows reason. Even though Sam Raimi didn't want Venom. But that's Spider-Man. I talked about Spider-Man before. Please watch the Nerd Pack Spider-Man fan discussion. I'll probably put the link in the description below. We talk about all 5 movies, and I think we touched a little bit on Homecoming. I forgot. I don't remember. But it was a lot of fun a few years ago. I hope you guys enjoy that. Like I said, I'll put the link in the description below. But so number 3, Fantastic Four First Steps. Now I'll admit, I had a lot of fun seeing this in theater. I didn't expect much out of it, because it's the Fantastic Four. After the last movie, I didn't really expect much. I will say this: I do wish they'd kept I'm not saying I hate Pedro Pascal in the role as Reed, but I do kind of wish they'd kept John Krasinski. Otherwise, why cast him in Multiverse of Madness? But they did that, I guess, like a fan casting thing, which is the same thing they did with Henry Cavill in Deadpool and Wolverine. That was an awesome 30 seconds. Especially when it's like, we will treat you so much better than those shit fucks down the street. commenting how Henry got screwed over by DC, which I thought was funny. But anyway, with first steps, I'll be this. I did enjoy this movie, but I do have a few things about it I did not like. Now, I don't know much about the comics, so I don't know much about the Silver Surfer. Although I do know Shia LaBeouf is a character from the comics, it did feel like though they just gave her Norman Rad's backstory from Rise of the Silver Surfer, which is she volunteered to become Galactus' herald on the condition he spares her world and her and this one daughter, whereas in Silver Surfer it was his wife, I'm assuming. So it kind of seems like they just gave her the same backstory as Norman Rad from Silver Surfer, plus the fact that thanks to Franklin Richards, death means nothing now in the MCU. Because apparently Franklin Richards has the ability to resurrect the dead. So thank you. Death no longer means dick in the MCU. Because if someone dies, Franklin can just resurrect them. Yippee! But other than that, those are the only two really nitpicky things I have for that movie. It was fun the whole way through, and I like the idea that they made Johnny the one that was kind of the one to figure out the whole Silver Surfer language, and he'd be the one to save the day in the end. I really liked that one. And as an uncle myself, I about choked up, and the spoilers for this. The movie's over a month old, so some spoilers. I really choked up a bit. I didn't tear up and cry, but I was like, I got a little choked up when Johnny said, tell Franklin Uncle Johnny loves him, when he was about to sacrifice himself to put Galactus through that portal. Because as an uncle myself, I love my nephew Wyatt to death. There's nothing I wouldn't do for that kid, even if it meant taking a bullet for him. So I was able to relate to Johnny in that way when he was willing to sacrifice himself for Franklin. So, yeah. So number 2 is Silver Surfer. Again, I enjoyed this movie much as I enjoyed First Steps. I liked the fact that the vastly... Thank you, Mom, and the Evans side of the family was stuttering. But I liked how in this one, the Fantastic Four were celebrities. They were famous. They, embraced their powers. And much like First Steps, they have to face Galactus, who in this one is a giant cloud, whereas in First Steps he's actually the Galactus as we know, or as most people know, because I remember the fucking comics, where he's this giant motherfucker. And I even like Doug Jones and Lawrence Fishburne as their performance as Silver Surfer. I will say this: you could write Julian McMahon and look, with all due respect, no disrespect to Julian McMahon, he's passed away, but you literally could have written him out as Silver Surfer and Rise of the Silver Surfer entirely. Doom does nothing in the entire movie until the third act, and it's not even Julian McMahon in the armor. So you literally could have written the character out entirely, because he does jack shit. I love Julian McMahon in the role, but you could write him out entirely. So yeah, I liked the idea of the whole Johnny switching powers with the team. That was kind of interesting. Though I'm confused. So they established in the movies that when Ben is in the rock form, his voice is deeper, more gravelly. But yet when he and Johnny switch powers, and then Johnny's in the rock form, Chris Evans still has his normal voice. I don't really get that at all. It's okay, I don't get that at all, really. So yeah, like I said, I enjoyed the movie. So for me, the first movie is number 1. For me, the 2005 movie is number 1 for me, because I think it's the best one in my opinion. Yeah, some people say Rise of the Silver is a better one, but for me, I like the first, because I liked seeing them get used to their powers, starting to come to grips with them, how they got them to begin with. And look, I know a lot of people say that makes the claim that Doom is literally just the Green Goblins from the first Spider-Man movie, but Tobit Ha, as opposed to the Toby Kebbell version of Doom in Fan Four Stick, Julian McMahon's Doom at least has a fucking motivation. Yeah, again, you could say it's straight from the first Spider-Man movie, but it makes sense, you know, because he gambled his company on the Fantastic Four's mission. It went sideways, and as a result, his company kind of imploded. So he blames them for his company's failure. And so it makes sense he'd want to take them out. Duh! But yeah, that is my... Look, that is going to be my ranking of the 5 Fantastic Four movies. I hope you guys enjoyed this. As I said, I will link the Spider-Man discussion in this so you guys can see us talk about them. Because I don't know how I got into the Spider-Man thing, but yeah. See you guys.